Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Cathy McGrath, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV could be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today's issue of the Neepawa Banner and Press is for Friday, December 13th, 2024. And on the front page, an article by Casper Warehan, Amazing Experiences, Lasting Memories. Local family shares wishes come true. And pictured on the left, Tricia and Macy Care of Neepawa. Macy participated in the Make-A-Wish Foundation Trees of Joy this year. Macy attended the 2024 event with her mum and two brothers. Pictured at the top in the middle, Macy with Connor McDavid of the Edmonton Oilers in 2023. Macy loves the Oilers and is a particular fan of McDavid. And the bottom middle, brothers Fletcher left and Jacob Wright receive a Lego set at Trees of Joy. And pictured right, Macy with her custom tree. It was designed with the Oilers and Taylor Swift in mind, two of her favorites. A Neepawa family was treated to an early Christmas gift late last month. Macy Care, daughter of Tricia Care, was invited to participate in Trees of Joy at the Gates on Roblin and Headingley. Macy attended the event with her mum and two brothers, Jacob and Fletcher. Trees of Joy is held by the Make-A-Wish Foundation and the Canadian National Railway since 2018. The 2024 edition hosted approximately 23 families, including the Cares. Macy was born with myelomeningocele spina bifida, a condition from the improper formation of the spine and spinal cord, and a developed hydrocephalus, a buildup of spinal fluid in the brain soon after. Macy and her family are supported by the Make-A-Wish Foundation. While attending Trees of Joy, they were treated to lunch, activities, and some special surprises. They have all these sponsors that pick a child and they go out shopping. They decorated a 6-foot tree of everything that Macy loves, and they presented it for us. It was really amazing, Tricia shared, describing Trees of Joy. They kept us in a different room to begin with. Then we walked around and went into this building, and all the sponsors were standing by the trees they decorated. They were all clapping for us and did a little parade. It was really cool. Tricia added, every kid, even the siblings, got a little wand, and the sponsors counted down, and you had to say, wish, and they all plugged the trees in, and they all lit up. It was really pretty. There were lots of happy kids there. When asked if she was excited to participate in the event, Macy smiled and gave a nod. Yeah. For her own tree, Macy wished for it to be half Edmonton Oilers themed and half Taylor Swift themed. It was exactly that and more. It's beautiful, said Tricia. The tree included items such as a framed photo of her dad, a custom star which features Connor McDavid and Taylor Swift, hockey pucks, tinsel, gold bowls, and more. Visiting the Oilers. Macy is a big fan of the Oilers and the Oilers player, McDavid. Last year, one of her wishes to the Make-A-Wish Foundation was to meet McDavid. Macy and her family got to do just that in 2023, traveling out to Edmonton. It was Macy and I, as well as my two sons, and my sister came as well as an extra caregiver, said Tricia. We got to go out on the ice. Connor pushed her on the ice with her wheelchair, and the boys got to skate with the team. Then the next day, they invited us to one of their hockey games. It was the most amazing experience ever. These experiences from the past 2 years are sure to have created memories to last many years to come. And pictured above, The Kerr family were some of those supported by Make-A-Wish who had the opportunity to visit at Edmonton Oilers in 2023. Tricia can be seen toward the middle of the photo. Macy is pictured at the right front between Fletcher and Jacob, left, and Connor McDavid, right. And pictured below, a closer look at Macy's custom Christmas tree. One side of the tree's star features McDavid, while the other features Taylor Swift. A special ornament featuring her father was included in the decorations. And moving on, Road Solutions Under Consideration in Neepawa by Ken Waddell. On November 19th, Town of Neepawa Council met with representatives of the Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce for an open and general discussion about the future needs of the town of Neepawa. Mayor, council, and staff were seeking opinions on various topics, but discussion centered on roads. The new fiscal year is fast approaching for towns and municipalities. While year-end for the province of Manitoba is March 31st, towns and RM's year-end is January 31st. Last summer, the town took a new step by renting a pavement patcher that spits out asphalt into potholes. It seems quite efficient and effective. Some citizens, councillors, and Mayor Brian Headley said they really liked the machine, which was humorously called the puker because of the way it spits out the asphalt. Town operations manager Denis Sakat said he really likes the patcher system, saying, "I prefer the patcher over the manual way of filling potholes. The manual way could involve 2 to 4 staff running around with multiple pieces of machinery versus a single truck and one operator completing the task." No matter what town or city a person is in, the familiar sight of maintenance crews filling potholes by the shovelful doesn't appear efficient. Judging from the reaction, council is tempted to take the plunge and buy a machine rather than rent. 2024 pricing for a new one was roughly $430,000, while a 4 to 5 years old machine is around $200,000 to $230,000. Unlike a new machine, it would not be under warranty. Editor's note, while at the Chamber Council meeting on November 19th, I offered some political advice to the council, and that was, it's important for politicians to do things voters want and to appear to be doing things voters want. The patcher system in fixing roads seems to fit that bill, so hopefully council can find the right machine in time for the 2025 pothole season. And we'll move on to the market report by Tyler Slowinski from Gladstone Auction. We sold 1,252 head of cattle through the ring in Gladstone on December 10th. Cows are trending with strength as we head into our first seasonal marketing break. As most markets will be shut down for several weeks, folks still have to eat. Some of the slaughter demand has cows being stockpiled for use over the holidays, thus strengthening the market. Feeding type cows and heiferettes are still selling stronger than yielding cows. Yielding cows still traded quite reasonable from $165 to $176, with sales to $182, looking like stronger averages. Feeding type cows are ranging between $175 to $188. Bulls traded slightly stronger, ranging between $185 to $207. Some highlights from the sale: black steers weighed 478, traded for a whopping $530.5 per pound. Black steers weighed 565 and traded for $482. Crossbred steers weighed 654 and brought $432. Crossbred steers weighed 725 pounds and they hit $404. Mixed steers weighed 884 and they checked out at $331. Heifers, red heifers, weighed 450 and traded for $496. And right in the center by Ken Waddell, Triumph Over Trials. I don't think I can remember a busier December. The Christmas month is always busy for people's personal lives, and for us that is no exception. Christmas parties, family gatherings, and staff parties are all part of the expected activities for any given family in any given December. This year has all of that, but it seems that from a business point of view, times are busier this year. In part, it's due to the absolutely stupid Canada Postal strike. As of the date of this writing, December 8th, 2024, Canada is under siege of a postal strike. Letters, parcels, and most importantly, checks are not moving. The strike is costing Canadians millions of dollars a day. CUPW people aren't being paid. Thousands of postmasters at rural post offices are being paid to do nothing and are mandated by Canada Post to do nothing. Even the local mail is forbidden to move. There's also a dirty little secret in Canada Post that some post offices have been ignoring, but even local letters are supposed to be shipped to a regional center to be sorted and then sent back. If you drop off a letter at the local post office for a box holder in the same post office, that letter is supposed to be handled and sorted by the regional centers. It's hard not to curse when one contemplates that much stupidity. Lots of blame to go around the affairs of Canada Post. The federal government has never modified the Canada Post model. It's still stuck in the 1930s, or somewhere even earlier than that. It's mandated to send first-class mail, letters basically, to any place in Canada for $1 or so. I am really old. I can remember when it was 5 cents, but most people today won't believe that. Both the federal government and Canada Post have ignored the changes that have taken place in the past 60 or so years. In fairness to the Canadian Union of Postal Workers, CUPW, they have made some suggestions, but to no avail. So, safe to say, amid all the other December busy season stuff, the woes Canada Post has inflicted on us, all is very stressful. As a newspaper, we are so thankful that except for subscriptions, we simply don't use Canada Post anymore. We made our final stop on that trail last week, albeit with a bit of sadness. I also don't remember a December when there was so much war and rumors of war. The U.S. political scene is in turmoil. World affairs seem to produce a new crisis every day. Syria, Ukraine, Russia, local regional wars, famine, travel, and shipping problems. You name it. That's enough stress out there to keep everyone uptight. However, we have been going through stresses like this for decades. Manitoba has been going through these stresses for centuries. Of all the months that we need to hearken to the faith of our fathers, December is the month, and the stresses should point us in that direction big time. My parents and grandparents, just like yours, went through many trials and tribulations. But through the decades, throughout the centuries, we can reflect on God and what He has done for us and continues to do for us. Let's not forget that Christmas is the time when we express a little more gratitude for the baby in the manger, God's gift to us. No matter how tough things get, we can rest in the blessings of God on us and our country. In spite of all the problems, there is no other country I would rather live in, and with faith in God and Jesus as our Savior, we will triumph in life and death. And the disclaimer, the views expressed in this column are the author's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the newspaper staff. And we move to Home Buddies by Rita Friesen. Simpler times? What were the good old days? And were the times truly simpler? This week, I was encouraged to think a bit more deeply into my concept of the good old days. I had a relatively average childhood, 2 parents, 3 sisters, scads of aunties and uncles and cousins, 2 sets of grandparents, and 1 complete set of great-grandparents. We were an average farming family in an average community. There were relatively few decisions that I was required to make, obey parents at home and teachers at school. I had enough to eat and clothing, often hand-me-downs to wear. In my eyes, those were simpler times, in the good old days. I realized that for my parents who worked hard and long to provide those comforts and necessities, well, they might not have used those words. Many of these reflections came in regards to Christmas decorations and celebrations. I never attended a one-room schoolhouse, but friends did. Even in our rural 4-room brick schoolhouse, we had our classroom decorated for the holiday season. The students with artistic ability were allowed to create expression on the blackboards using colored chalk and stencils, or freehand if they were really good. I recall the stencil, perforated paper that one dusted with a chalk-filled eraser, removed the paper, and there was the image of Santa, or candy canes, or snowmen. I don't know where the stencil came from. It just magically appeared. Simple. There were often streamers of crepe paper or chains made out of colored paper. Truly simplistic, but details that added to the festive season. But there was a teacher who prepared the ideas and supplied the material. And which country school child could ever forget the Christmas concerts? The details involved, the excitement with having family and friends attend and witness our abilities. Crepe paper costumes for pattern dance, wigs and gowns and crowns for the nativity story, singing and the wonderful monologue. There was a great deal of pressure on the performers. There would be a gift exchange, having drawn names in the classroom, praying for the right name to be drawn by you and by whoever got your name. High stakes. The concert always ended with Santa Claus ho-hoing his way through the crowd, distributing the goodie bags. A brown paper bag with peanuts, a Christmas orange, some hard candies, raspberries, curly ones, some with printing on them, and a great ear chocolates. Those treats were savored and treasured, a gift from the school trustees, if I remember correctly. I hold those memories. They instilled in me a sense of community, of taking a part in an event bigger than my everyday, of striving and attaining. These events in a crowded school gymnasium, with the excitement level off the charts, surrounded by supporters, gave me courage to speak in public. There was the trusted prompter behind the curtains. And to be grateful, aware of the wonder of working together. Thanks to family, friends, and community, those for me, a portion of my good old days, and again for me, those were simpler times. And Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine. A Peacemaker's Code. In the days preceding the recent U.S. presidential election, candidate, now President-elect, Donald Trump confidently stated that he could end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours of becoming president. My first reaction to those words was, he probably could, but at what price? And is he the one we should trust to produce a lasting peace? That second question led to a third, how can we recognize someone we can trust to help warring factions negotiate a lasting and sustainable peace? I came up with the 5 character traits that a trustworthy peacemaker should possess. First, moral integrity. The beliefs of trusted peacemakers are based on Holy Scripture, and they live by the standards they seek others to adopt. When leaders do not live by the rules they seek to impose on others, they should not be surprised when those they lead break the rules and use the leader's actions as their excuse for doing so. Second, a commitment to truth and justice. Trusted peacemakers know that there are 3 sides to every story: your side, my side, and then the truth. Before justice can be served in any situation, the whole truth must be revealed, and those on each side of a dispute must acknowledge their role in starting the fight and resolve to change their behaviors so that a lasting and sustainable peace can be achieved. Third, trusted peacemakers have no desire to get involved in wars of words. That's how most conflicts begin. People hurl insults at one another, make false accusations, and utter threats. Before long, others get involved, and the conflict can divide families, communities, countries, and nations. In extreme cases, war of words can escalate into violent actions that, left unchecked, could lead to a civil or world wars. Trusted peacemakers choose their words carefully. They do not add their inappropriate words to those already spoken in the dispute they are asked to mediate, but neither will they allow themselves to be intimidated or weakened or demeaned. That's because, fourth, trusted peacemakers know where compromise is possible and where it isn't. As noted above, trusted peacemakers are committed to doing what is just and seeking a just settlement to all disputes. They know that there are some things one cannot put to a vote. They are wrong, or they are right, and trusted peacemakers must have the courage to take a stand for justice and righteousness, even if it means that the 2 sides in a dispute will reject them and their efforts will fail. Finally, trusted peacemakers seek to find and build on common ground. Those words are easy to write and easy to read, but the most talented and trustworthy peacemakers on earth will, at times, find those words difficult, if not impossible, to achieve. But they keep trying, hoping for a breakthrough that will lead to the lasting peace they desire. As people of faith, we can and should applaud the efforts of all those who try, in one way or another, to bring warring parties to a negotiating table and urge them to settle their disputes there. But we should not be surprised if their efforts fail. We look forward to the return of Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, the ultimate peacemaker, who will put an end to all war and violence and establish an eternal kingdom of righteousness and peace. In 9 days, we will celebrate his birth. Let us welcome him as the ones who bring peace to our lives, to our homes, to our communities, and to our world. And moving on, Faith and Family by Tara Kohnhofen. Abiding love. Whoops. We got our Christmas tree a couple of weeks ago. Early for some, I am sure, late for others. This would be an early year for us, but it is my favorite part of setting up for Christmas. The smell of the pine growing stronger as each branch unfurls from being wrapped and the wet sap starts to drip and waft through the house. The warm lights being wrapped around and around until they span the tree top to bottom. The ornaments of choice, beaded strands entwined with the lights, pine cones and stars, and of course my kids squealing with delight as the coveted position of putting the star on the top of the tree gets chosen once again. This year, our 3-year-old was flown up to the top by my husband, and we all clapped and cheered, and oohs and ahs rang out from my older boys as he placed it on top. His face lit by the warm glow of the lights, and a joyous grin spread across his face. The next morning, I sat by the Christmas tree lights on one side and the fire on the other, and I opened my Bible and put on the song Emmanuel by Hannah Kerr. As I opened my Bible and looked at the tree lights, the words, "He was not the one we thought would come. We were looking for a king, but he didn't come in glory. The author of the oceans and the sun, still he chose to be written in our story," floated across the room in the morning by the tree, lights, and fireside. The lyrics hit me deeper than they had before. As I sat there enjoying my tree and my coffee, I was reminded and convicted of the true reason we celebrate. Emmanuel, God with us, the High King of Heaven, the Lord of Lords, the Creator of the world we live in, chose to come to a helpless baby in human form, vulnerable and needy to fulfill a promise long ago made to save us all. This gift, this reminder, brought me to tears. As I'm reminded of what a sacrifice was made on my behalf, on your behalf, so we would have the opportunity to know his deep abiding love for us. And moving on, we come to letters to the editor. And this one is submitted by Levi Cottingham from Bertle. Trudeau's 2-month tax trick. The Trudeau government unveiled what it calls a tax break for Canadians. But make no mistake, this is no break. It's a cynical tax trick. Here's the gimmick. From December 14th, 2024 to February 15th, 2025, the GST will temporarily be waived on restaurant meals, junk food, Christmas trees, and other selected items. At first glance, this might seem like a win for families, but dig deeper and the cracks become clear. In Manitoba, only the 5% GST will be removed on eligible items, while in Ontario, shoppers benefit from a full 13% cut due to the province's harmonized tax system. This creates inequity between provinces, hardly a fair deal for Manitobans. Even worse, the tax holiday conveniently starts after Black Friday, long after many of Canadians have completed their holiday shopping. Rather than boosting sales, this temporary measure will simply shift spending, creating chaos as consumers rush to squeeze savings into a narrow window. Think crowded stores, supply shortages, and stressed out families. Not exactly the holiday cheer Canadians were hoping for. But wait, there's more. Trudeau also announced he's writing one-time checks of $250 set to arrive in the new year for individuals earning under $150,000 annually. The price tag of this rebate? $4.7 billion. Shockingly, the vulnerable populations, such as seniors, people with disabilities, and anyone who started working in 2024, are left out in the cold. Meanwhile, a 2-income household earning $300,000 will pocket $500. How does that make sense? If Trudeau was serious about helping those in need, he'd lower the eligibility threshold to $60,000 and include those truly struggling to make ends meet. And what about the long-term cost of the short-term stunt? Trudeau isn't handling $250. He's borrowing it from your future. Every rebate check is being financed by debt that Canadians and their children will be paying off for decades with interest. This isn't economic relief. It's a cheap distraction from the real issues facing Canadians, such as skyrocketing inflation, stagnant wages, and a ballooning national debt. If the NDP Liberal government truly cared about economic growth, they'd pursue meaningful tax reform. They would cut income tax rates to let Canadians keep more of their hard-earned money, encouraging investment and supporting job creation. Don't let Trudeau gaslight you into believing he's giving you anything. This is your money, money that's been funneled back to you through a wildly inefficient, inequitable system. When the next election comes, Canadians won't be fooled. They'll see this for what it is, a desperate attempt to buy votes with their own money. And they'll show Justin Trudeau the door. And we've got thumbs up and thumbs down. Thumbs up to the Neepawa Hospital for the fabulous food served. 10 stars from Barry G. in Neepawa. And thumbs up to the organizers of the glorious Christmas wish sale and the Neepawa Parade of Lights. Very well appreciate the events that were organized. From John Drinkwater in Neepawa. And thumbs down to Ken Waddell for his lengthy abuse of power, or what he may call a story on the YHC, using speculation and beliefs to bring down a volunteer board is flat out wrong. Every group in our town is struggling to find volunteers to keep them afloat, and now we have to worry about being called out in the local paper, on the front page no less. Next time, please provide facts instead of fear-mongering about the facility soon going broke and have to close. From Rodney White in Neepawa. And thumbs down to the people who have been parking in the handicap parking spot in front of the new Harris Pharmacy building next to the last tree. There should be a sign that sticks out of the snow similar to the one that is in the Safeway parking lot. From Kelly Nygren of Neepawa. And we'll end with a thumbs up. Thumbs up to our local newspapers. They raise local issues that impact our communities, such as the community meeting places, of which community halls plays an important role, must be maintained, promoted, and requires a fund for major renovations or replacement established by our municipal governments. If we neglect our community meeting places, this is the first sign of a declining society. From Robert Smith from Edmonds. And the RCMP report. Arrests made related to auto theft in Minnedosa by Sergeant David Taggart of Spruce Plains RCMP. In the month of November, the Spruce Plains RCMP had 238 occurrences. We investigated 3 assaults, 4 break-and-enter incidents, 8 reports of vandalism, 10 fraud-related offenses, 17 thefts, and many other criminal code and provincial statutes. In relation to recent vehicular incidents, we found 2 people to be impaired by alcohol or drugs, and they received administrative driving suspensions. There were 19 collisions in our area, with one, sadly, being a fatal motor vehicle collision. As well, there was a vehicle stolen from Minnedosa that was later found in the Brandon area. The car was stopped using a spike belt, and the driver was arrested. Joshua Fawcett, 28 years old, was charged with the possession of stolen property over $5,000, flight from the police, dangerous operation of a motor vehicle, and other unrelated offenses. He was held in custody. Speeder of the month. A 23-year-old driver from New York going 154 kilometers on Highway 16 in the municipality of Westlake Gladstone. A serious offense notice was issued. And an anti-fraud tip. Foreign money offers. These scams are also known as inheritance scams or fake business proposals. A scammer contacts you asking for help to transfer a large sum of money from one country to another. The requests often appear to come from a lawyer or legal entity. These requests can include fake inheritance letters, fake business proposals, and requests for help with an illegal activity like smuggling gold out of a country. They advise you that they need to pay 1 or more fees before the money can be released. However, the money doesn't exist, and you will never receive anything. And Carberry transforms for the silver screen. Town to be featured in upcoming film Normal by Casper Warehead. Pictured left, this building became the admin's office for Normal. And above, crews at work on a scissors lift doing some set dressing leading up to the late November filming session in Carberry. The town of Carberry was part of a silver screen production recently. Crews from Odenkirk, Kolstad, and Provincials visited the town during the last week of November to film a portion of their latest movie. This is the up-and-coming action thriller titled Normal. A section of Main Street was blocked off while filming was underway. Normal follows a character named Ulysses, who is appointed substitute sheriff for a small and forgotten town in Minnesota. Normal. When the local bank in this friendly Midwestern town is robbed, Ulysses unknowingly uncovers a far bigger plot than a robbery. Carberry Mayor Ray Muirhead noted that this partnership opportunity came about sometime this past summer. We were approached by a member of the film production crew. They were scouting locations for the movie at different places in Manitoba. I believe Starbuck is part of it as well, Muirhead explained. They stopped in Carberry and they liked the look of our main street. There's a lot of old heritage-style buildings and they wanted to film some scenes. Muirhead added, they asked our permission and who are we to say no? Anytime a major motion picture comes to town, we are more than happy to have them. It was actually amazing. The town of Carberry granted the crews access and the projects began. Crews were hard at work for a period of several weeks, transforming an entire block of Main Street into Normal. This process included signage, flags, and more. It was actually amazing how they did it, Muirhead confided. They had it looking pretty good. Muirhead added, they recreated Main Street in Carberry on a smaller scale in a big warehouse in Winnipeg, too. I've seen pictures and videos, and it's amazing what they can do. They're going to do the shoot 'em up, blow 'em up type scenes in the miniature set. Carberry is a repeat location. This isn't the first time that Carberry has been selected for a film either. Muirhead estimates that this is the third time the rural town has been featured in such a way. The first instance was for the movie titled For the Moment, which released in 1993. It feels good to have Carberry selected as a film location again. We welcome any film crew back. Muirhead enthused. It's an economic boon for the town too. I mean, there's a lot of people here eating in the restaurants. They had a local Airbnb booked, buying groceries, using local people for production assistance, and rented or used local equipment. It's a win-win for everybody involved, and it sure puts Carberry on the map. In his final comments, Muirhead added, it was a positive experience all the way around. Area film buffs, keep your eye out for Carberry if you watch Normal once it's released. And the town of Minnedosa hosts its annual Santa Parade. The annual Santa Parade for Minnedosa was held on Saturday, December 7th. Pictured here are a few of the entries from the parade. A program of the parade will appear on NACTV. Top left, a colorfully lit truck with some tinsel accents and a decorative present. This entry was put in by Synovus Energy. Top right, Inspire Studios truck was decked with lights, bows, and snowflakes. And left, this float had a trailer full of Christmas-themed inflatables and some well-bundled people sharing smiles and waves. And back to Neepawa. Neepawa pays to clear grease buildup in water and sewer lines by Owen Devereaux. It's a problem that has been literally building up in the past several years in Neepawa, the improper disposal of grease in the sewer and drainage system. A portion of that issue was recently addressed as Unijet Industrial Pipe Limited of Winnipeg was in town to clear some local lines. Chief Administrative Officer Colleen Sinchison provided an update on the problem during the most recent Town Council meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd. Speaking on behalf of the Manager of Operations, Sinchison stated that Unijet was in town last week cleaning and televising sewer mains. Grease buildup was the main culprit. Reports and videos should arrive in the next couple of weeks. The cost of bringing in Unijet for just 2 days to clear and videoscope some of the lines was around $30,000. Along with clearing the sewer and drainage, The service was also able to identify the primary sources of the problem. Sinchishan said that grease was visible in some service lines, which means that individual homes could now be singled out as responsible. The town of Neepawa has previously stated that strict penalties could be considered if careless disposal continued to be a problem, with fines of up to $1,000. For the past several years, town administration and council have been warning people not to pour such items as grease down the drain. Grease, along with cooking oils, residue, and fats, can form a hardened mass in sewer pipes, which, over time, blocks sewage flow. Excuse me. And snow clearing and garbage contracts renewed. Neepawa Town Council early December meeting, again by Owen Devereux. Neepawa's snow removal contracts for the winter has been finalized. Since 2017, the clearing agreement has been split between a pair of local companies, P. Baker Backhoe Service and Rob Smith & Son Backhoe and Trucking Limited. Over that period of time, Mountain Avenue has served as the deciding line for the snow clearing duties, with Pat Baker responsible for the west side of Neepawa, while the east side is looked after by Rob Smith & Son. The financial details on the agreements were not released publicly. And the solid waste recycling contract. As well, the town of Neepawa recently renewed its solid waste, aka garbage, and recycling contract with Ottenbrut Sanitation Services, OSS, for a 3-year term. In total, 3 bids were submitted for this specific contract, with administration recommending the OSS deal to council, which is worth $217,219.44 per year, including applicable taxes or charges. As well, a cost of living adjustment factored into the agreement for 2026 and 2027. The agreement is shorter than the previous 5-year deal that the town had with the OSS. CAO Colleen Sinchishan said the reason for this is related to the Manitoba government's discussions on taking over the recycling portion of the service from municipalities. What we agreed to within our tender documents is to provide a clause that says that when the province is ready to take on the responsibility for recycling, if they still wish to do so, and we agree, and there is a assignable clause that we can pull out of the recycling component of that contract. And we had it bid that way, stated Sinchishan. Water bill clarification. The town of Neepawa is informing the general public that if they had sent late payments on their annual water bill via Canada Post, they should contact the town office immediately. Because of the postal strike, which is now in its 4th week, checks sent by mail to cover the payment may not have arrived. Utility bills were issued and sent out back in early October with a due date of October 21st. Second notices for these unpaid were issued in mid-November, and there will not be an extension for payment. If you are unsure if your bill is outstanding, feel free to contact the town at 204-476-7600. If sufficient payment is not received by December 13, properties with outstanding charges may be subject to the disconnection as of December 16th. Hanging basket tender. Vanstone Nurseries of Portage la Prairie have been selected to provide the hanging flower baskets to the town of Neepawa per year for the next 5 years. The tender process closed in Neepawa, with the town receiving just 1 bid on the contract. Administration recommended proceeding with Vanstone operating the contract from 2025 to 2029. The 30 baskets are hung through the summer and fall along Mountain Avenue and portions of Hamilton Street. And a grant application deadline. The deadline for submission of grants requests the town of Neepawa has been set for December 31st. Each year, a number of local groups applying for support as part of the town's budget deliberations. Councillor Darrell Gerard noted that anything submitted after the date of the month deadline will not be considered. As well, this year's distribution of grants could be a bit stricter as compared to previous years. And a note from the Banner and Press, Merry Christmas. The Neepawa Banner and Press staff are taking a little bit of an extra, well-deserved holiday this year. Our office will be closed December 23rd, 2024 to January 3rd, 2025. There will be no December 27th and January 3rd issues of the Neepawa Banner and Press. And a puzzle competition returns to Neepawa. The Ravensburger Puzzle Competition was once again held in Neepawa on Saturday, December 7th. The event was hosted by Hidden Hollow in partnership with Arts Forward, the event venue, and Ravensburger Puzzles. The competition began at 12:30 p.m. with teams working hard to finish first. Good company, conversation, and smiles were shared. In a public statement from Hidden Hollow, it was noted that the first four-person team completed their puzzle in 1 hour and 7 minutes. Congratulations to Team Hardy, and a job well done to who participated. And Team Hardy is pictured above with their medals and prizes. They were the two-person team that completed the puzzle first. And pictured on the top, a portion of the crowd that attended. And bottom right, this youth puzzler carefully compares a piece to the image on the box. And bottom far right, in case you can't tell it, that's me sitting there with a careful eye. More pieces are put in place. And my team did not finish their puzzle, but we had an awful lot of fun. Okay, and that's what it is. And pictured down here, much appreciation to the reader who recently assisted us in identifying this mystery item seen in the November 29th edition. It is believed that this particular device appears to have been used to blow rat or vermin poison into hard-to-reach cracks and holes along the corners, basements, and attics of older homes. And we move on to sports. Local rinks qualify for Curling Provincials by Owen Devereaux. Pictured left to right, Mark Kirkowicz, lead, Scott Newton, second, Brent Boyle, third, and Sean Boyle, skip. A pair of local teams have punched their ticket to the Viterra Men's Provincial Curling Championship. Sean Boyle's team, who plays out of the Neepawa Curling Club, along with Gladstone's Jeff Stewart, earned a spot in the 2025 Provincials. They are two of the four clubs who secured a place in the championship from the Curl Manitoba West 1 regional qualifier, which was played in Neepawa over the weekend. Team Boyle consists of Sean, who serves as skip for the club, along with Brent Boyle as third, Scott Newton as second, and Mark Kirkowicz playing the lead position. As for Jeff Stewart's team, they are comprised of Stewart, who plays as skip, third, Eric Zamrakut, second, Jeff Trimble, and lead, Alan Christensen. Trevor Calvert is an alternate for the team. The other two teams who won locally and will play in the Viterra Championship are Greg Toderick of Dauphin and Travis Gregory of Hamiota. The 2025 Men's Provincials will consist of 32 teams and will be played at Stride Place in Portage la Prairie from February 4th to 9th. The winner will represent Manitoba at the Canadian Men's Championship set for Kelowna, BC in early March. And Neepawa Figure Skating Club prepares for annual Christmas show. The Neepawa Figure Skating Club has been busy improving their skating skills this season and are getting ready for their annual Christmas ice show. This season, we have 14 star skaters who skate every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with coach Kim Smith. Many of the star skaters are hoping that the ice show will help them to get to the jitters out before all the competitions in the new year. We also have 25 can skaters helped out by many of our star skaters. These tiny skaters are sure to put everybody into the Christmas spirit. The annual Christmas ice show will be on Sunday, December 15th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. at the Yellowhead Center. Admission is a silver collection and or a non-perishable food item or toy item to be donated to the Salvation Army. The Neepawa Figure Skating Club is excited to perform for our many families, friends, and community fans. Please come out and join us for some great skating. And Mason LeBrew is named as an MJHL Original 16 Star of the Week. And pictured Neepawa Titans goaltender Mason LeBrew. The Manitoba Junior Hockey League has announced its Original 16 Stars of the Week for December 2nd to 8th. Mason LeBrew from Neepawa, 2 games played, 2 wins, 1 goals against average, GAA, and at .97 save percentage. LeBrew helped guide the Neepawa Titans in a pair of key wins last week that now has the club within 1 point of a second-place tie in the MGEU West Division. The Titans veteran stopped 30 of 31 on the road in a 4-1 win over Verdun Oil Capitals before kicking aside 33 of 34 2 nights later at home in a 3-1 win over the Wewaysekapel Wolverines. Hayden Wedden from Niverville. 2 games played, 5 points, 3 goals, 2 assists. Wedden came up clutch for the Niverville Nighthawks last week as the team rolled along to their 4th straight win and 6 of their last 7 overall. A 3-point outing in that included 2 goals and 1 assist, helped Nighthawks in an important 8-6 win over their MGEU East Division rivals, Steelers. Wedden followed up that performance with the highlight reel goal along with another assist in a 3-0 win over the Blizzard to close out the week. Cole Sheffield from Dauphin. 2 games played, 2 wins, 2-point goals against average, .944 save percentage, 1 assist. The veteran goaltender stepped up on a pair of big wins for the Dauphin Kings last week. Sheffield turned aside 33 of 35 in a 4-2 road win against the Kings' MGEU West Division rival, the Northern Manitoba Blizzard, before following it up with another stellar performance where he stopped 34 of 36 against the Steinbach Pistons in a 5-2 win. Sheffield and the Kings extended their division lead to 8 points with a pair of games in hand on the second-place Blizzard. And power play, a positive factor in Neepawa Titans' success. In Pitchard, Cooper Kasperk celebrates another power play goal for Neepawa Titans during their 3-1 win over the Wewaysekapel Wolverines on Saturday, December 7th. And pictured below, Talon Wallace picks up a power play goal in Verdun on Thursday, December 5th. The Titans would end this night with a 4-1 win over the Oil Capitals. By Owen Devereaux. The power play for the Neepawa Titans has proven to be an extremely effective tool for the club in their most recent run of victories. The Titans went 3 for 4 with the man advantage in their 4-1 win over the Verdun Oil Capitals on Thursday, December 5th at Tundra Oil and Gas Place. Neepawa followed that up with another impressive power play effort versus the Wewaysekapel Wolverines on Saturday, December 7th, going 3 for 6 on the night. That propelled Titans to their 2nd straight win as they bested the Wolverines 3-1. These latest results with the extra attacker pushed Neepawa's overall power play to a solid 26.42% efficiency, which is 2nd best in the MJHL. The numbers are even more impressive at home as a 35.4% efficiency. Titans assistant coach Zach Hicks said this type of improvement in the game all begins at practice. He added they have also developed more confidence out there in game situations. The guys have really brought in what we are trying to accomplish on the power play. They're not turning away good shot opportunities and creating different looks with movement has given us success recently. Our power play has been good all year. The bounce has just started going our way lately. The recent wins have improved Neepawa's record to 15-12-1-1 on the season and within striking distance of the Northern Manitoba Blizzard and 2nd place in the West Division. The next home game for the Neepawa Titans will be Friday, December 13th against the Wewaysekapel Wolverines. Start time at the Yellowhead Center is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. And Neepawa gets shamrocked by Killarney by Owen Devereaux. It was a rough night for the Neepawa farmers down in Killarney on Friday, December 6th, as they lost 10-1 to the Shamrocks. Garrett Rimple was the lone scorer for Neepawa, while Killarney's Reed Gow led the night with 5 points, 2 goals, 3 assists. Forward Ty Enns, whose hockey experience included a 4-year stint in the ECHL, scored a hat trick and added an assist for the Shamrocks. The win improves the Killarney Shamrocks' regular season record to 6-0-1 and keeps them just a point back of the Rivers Jets at 700.14 in the standings. As for Neepawa, this latest loss drops them to 2-4-1 on the year and has them just a point up on McGregor and Carberry in the East Division. The Farmers' next home game will be on Saturday, December 14th versus the Boys of Vane Border Kings. Start time at the Yellowhead Center will be 7:30 p.m. The Minnesota Bombers came away with a 2-1 shootout win over Boys of Vane on December 6th. 51 save effort from goaltender Devin Fordyce was massive reason for Minnedosa's victory. Bryson Werbicki Mallet scored the lone goal for the Bombers in regulation. The goal scorers in the shootout are not listed on the Tiger Hills Hockey League website. Carberry wins over Souris. 5 unanswered goals in the third period propelled the Carberry Plainsmen to a comfortable 7-3 win over the Souris Elks. The trio of Nate Robson, Tavish Quinn, and Trey Dixon each scored twice for Carberry, with 5 of those combined 6 goals coming in the final frame. Robson's first of the game came in first period, while Carson Nakanechki collected the second period goal for the Plainsmen. And Santa Day in Neepawa. The town of Neepawa hosted its annual Santa Day at the rink on Saturday, December 7th. The event was held at the Yellowhead Center from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., featuring activities such as photos with Santa, pictured at the top, a public skate, a bake sale, and Christmas crafts above. Donations were also being accepted for the Salvation Army. And Looking Back by Casper Wareham. 125 years ago, December 13th, 1899, Andrew Malcolm, a builder who was engaged all the past season in this neighborhood, left on Monday for Orillia, Ontario, where he will spend the winter. He returns in the spring to finish some contracts entered into and will probably make his permanent abode here. 100 years ago, December 12th, 1924, Brandon is considering a motor bus system to supplant their streetcars, but their proposed bus system templates a rural service to bring trade to that city. This is what the press has at different times suggested for Neepawa. We should have a motor bus service doing business with Moore Park, Brookdale, Oberon, Wellwood, and Edrins to the south, with Plumas, Glenella, and Glencairn to the northeast, and Polonia, Mountain Road, and Elk Ranch to the northwest. This is the natural trade center for those outlying places. But if we do not look after our interests, trade will go elsewhere. 75 years ago, December 8th, 1949. Union. A decisive vote December 3rd paved the way for construction of a new building to replace the old Union School, which has been in use since 1883. The bylaw carried out by a vote of 39-2. It authorized issuing of debentures at Neepawa, payable over a period of 20 years. Brookdale. The Buttons and Bows Sewing Group met at the home of Mrs. Miller on Tuesday. 15 members were present. The leaders explained the art of laying patterns on material. Eden firemen were a little confused Sunday when they were summoned in record time by the new fire siren. They quickly loaded the engine and sped to the farm home of Mr. and Mrs. Russ Graham, north of the village, to find no fire, just a group of surprised people. Back to town they hurried to find that the fire was west of town, the farm of Mr. and Mrs. Les Graham. The chimney fire had been brought under control before the brigade arrived. Frank Lee of the Royal Cafe Neepawa was elected to the board of directors of the Manitoba branch of the Canadian Restaurant Association at the annual meeting last week in the St. Regis Hotel. And 50 years ago, 1974. And pictured covered night wagon, a popular sight at Neepawa Parade. Pictured are some of the floats and groups that made an appearance in the annual parade in Neepawa in December of 1974. These pictures appeared in the December 12th edition of the press for that year. Pictured left is a horse-drawn covered wagon that was a popular entry for the old-timers. The wagon was driven by Hector McClay with his son Arthur sitting beside him with a 44-40 rifle. The wagon was originally from the Baker farm at Spring Hill, and students from NACI provided the hoops and cover. An entry from the number 9 cadets can be seen at the right, complete with a model helicopter. The cadets had 40 members that year. A meeting was held December 9th to discuss the results of a survey which has been taken to decide about the need for a daycare center and or nursery school in Neepawa. After the results were tabulated, it was found a nursery school was in more demand than a daycare center. Grade 9 students at NACI recently completed construction of a miniature home that is to be raffled off as part of a fundraising drive. And 20 years ago, 2004, The Manitoba Public Utilities Board ordered the Manitoba Public Insurance to cut basic rates by 1% while accusing the NDP of offloading costs onto Autopac drivers. And we move on to finally the Kids Scoop. And it's the beauty of blubber, talking about whales and penguins, and there's tests to try out and word puzzles and word searches and just a whole bunch of stuff for your kids to do. And that concludes the reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press for Friday, December 13th, 2024. I hope you enjoyed.